Welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre The Beast Crayton Show. You know, it's not every day that you can go on to social media and then all of a sudden realize that you created a serious trend. I know we all try to do it, and sometimes you just do it without even knowing it. Today, I am privileged that we have a beautiful young lady who's going to come on to the show and share exactly that story, how she basically took her change of life, her beast frame of mind, elevated it, put it on social media, and now she is an instant overnight sensation. Like to welcome all the way from Lexington, Kentucky, the one, the only, the new 30 is 70 is new 30, Hilary Miller. Welcome to the show, Hilary.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here.
Let's get right down to it. Before
Sure.
we get into this overnight sensation, tell the viewers a little bit about who Hilary is.
I think the most remarkable thing about me right now is that I'm 70 years old. That seems to be what everybody is interested in. But I've been married for 46 years. I have 3 adult children, no grandkids, and I'm a person who likes to exercise, but there's lots of other things I enjoy doing as well.
And you came from the
New
furthest north
Jersey?
region, New Jersey. What led you to Lexington, Kentucky? And trust me, I love Lexington, Kentucky. It's a beautiful place, the horses, the people, the environment. But you come from Jersey. I mean, that's
Well,
that's
and from
crazy.
New England after New Jersey, it was definitely a culture shock. But basically, I followed my husband to a job,
Mhm.
and we were young, and Kentucky seemed like, I don't know, better than some of the other options. So when we got here, things worked out, and we decided we'd build a life here.
Now, your career is very interesting too, because you went to Brown and Harvard, as well as Murray State, but that was online. Tell me a little bit about that, because I'm really want the people to know who you are. 70 years is a lot of experience, and I'm gonna make sure they know exactly this experience that you got and how it translated over into this overnight sensation.
I mean, I've just done a lot of things. I I went to Brown and then on to Harvard to get a master's in city planning. Came down here to Kentucky, couldn't get a job in city planning, so I worked for a corporation as manager of technical communications,
Mhm.
which involved a lot of writing. Um, we waited quite a while to have kids, and then we had 3 and 5 years. And I at that time didn't think the schools were the best, so I decided to homeschool for a couple of years, and a couple of years turned into like 20.
When you say
And
when you said Hillary, the schools wasn't the best, and this is not to diminish the school system because times have changed. We're talking several years, but what did you consider not to your standards? Because you got to realize your husband went to law school, you went to Brown, Harvard. Education is the key here. But what did you see that was like in that allowed you to make you go into homeschooling? Because evidently you was doing homeschooling before it became
it wasn't
a
as
major
popular
topic.
then.
Right.
I mean, a little bit is arrogance, "Oh, I went to Harvard, I should be better able to teach my children," but that's only a small part of it. Part of it was that I waited so long to have children that when I had them, I just loved being with them, and I was fortunate that I didn't have to work because my husband was making enough money to support us. Um, the other thing is that both my husband and I had felt when we were in school, that we had to kind of stay at the same pace as everybody else, and I don't think that's the best way to learn. So when I worked with my kids, they all learned to read before they were 5, and I thought if I send them to school now, they're gonna be spending a whole year
Right,
relearning how to read when they could be moving on.
right,
Um, so that was part of it. I don't know if it was the best choice,
right.
but it's the choice we made.
Your degree, you went for city planning, and where I'm going with this is the different levels of beast mentality that you had to switch to. Because first of all, why city planning? Because that's not something that you usually hear people say that's going on to further education. I can go talk to 10 people and say, what's your degree in? And I guarantee you out of that 10, nobody's gonna say city planning.
Well, my major at Brown was I had a double major in English and also in psychology. I to be perfectly honest, I got interested in city planning because I had a boyfriend at the time that was interested in it.
Okay.
We broke up, but I decided I liked cities. I didn't grow up in a city. But the whole process of trying to redesign places to make them more livable was interesting to me.
Mm,
And so, you know, being what, 23, 24, and not really knowing what I wanted to do,
mhm.
why not?
When did
Why
the
not do
coach
that?
when did that change? I know you went on to have a family and relocate, but then you later once again did another beast mindset and went to Murray State because you wanted to pursue another career. What was that like?
Well, I felt like there's no point in looking at urban planning again because I've been out of school for so long. And as my kids started to get older, I saw an ad in the newspaper, not an ad, but an article about teaching ESL as a volunteer. And we had some painters in the house, and there was one guy who couldn't speak English very well, and I felt bad for him, and I just thought, this why couldn't I do this? So
Mhm,
I volunteered teaching for a few years in the city and liked it so much that I decided that I would get a master's in teaching English as a second language.
mm,
And that's what I've been doing ever since. I worked at University of Kentucky for about 5 years,
mhm,
but now I'm doing all my teaching online at home, which
mhm.
I love.
Now, now the curtains shift again. You're getting older, but more knowledgeable, more keeping up with what your husband say, making sure you're on the same playing field as everybody else. But you get into the fitness industry, sort of speak. How did that even evolve? Did you have health issues before you embarked in this overnight sensation on your social media? Were there any health issues or that
I,
you went through prior?
I wouldn't say health issues, but I definitely had a disordered relationship with eating and actually with exercise too. I was sort of like I would swing one way a whole way, restricting my eating and exercising like a maniac. And then I would go through a period where I just couldn't care less.
Mm,
And when I was 45, I just came to the realization that I was not happy, and either I needed to accept the fact that I was sort of heavier and out of shape, and that was okay, or that I would change. And if I was going to change, it would be a permanent change.
when you
I
say
wasn't going to
you
go back
wasn't
and forth.
when you say you wasn't happy, Give
I
me
wouldn't.
more, give me more of a reason that you said it. Was it both emotional? Was it more because of the weight, or was the conflict with the weight and the weight causing emotional or self-esteem issues?
I mean, I grew up in the Twiggy era, so
What's that? What's that?
Twiggy, the British model that was like, weighed 90 pounds or something. I
Okay.
mean, people say it's bad now, although I don't think it's as bad as it was. But when you grew up in the 60s, basically, the ideal was to look like a skeleton. So that was sort of ingrained in me.
Mhm.
Um, I always wanted to be thin. I didn't care so much about being fit, but um, I just, I'd compare myself to other people. I would be um, embarrassed if people saw me and I had put on weight. It just, I didn't want to go to the pool with my
How much weight
kids.
did you put on?
Um, well, see, I've gone up and down
What's the
the
heaviest? What's the
spectrum.
heaviest?
Probably over 180 pounds.
Okay,
I
so
didn't weigh myself, but probably about 186.
how long did you struggle with trying to find that right balance?
Once I decided that I was going to eat differently, the weight came off and it stayed off.
Mhm.
It's not that it hasn't fluctuated a little, but it no longer became something that I felt was out of control.
And this is a question that I really want to ask. You've been married for such a long time. Did you share this information with your husband? Was he seeing what you were going through, or did you do this in silence?
He obviously could see that my my weight was going up and down. To his credit, he never said anything. He loved me no matter what I look like. But as far as some of the eating disorders that I engaged in, I tried to keep that very, very secret. So he
I,
knows now.
okay, I'm gonna ask you a question, and I know this is clearly it just came to my head from being married or having a partner, knowing what you were going through. You know, even if it's this little with weight issues, would you have felt comfortable had he approached you with it to some degree?
Like if he'd said, "You're getting too fat,"
Yeah, yeah. I know that sounds hard, but would that have made a difference or not?
I
Because you
probably would
said
have
he was just like,
strangled him.
what do you think about that? I'm just curious.
Um, uh, that would have caused a lot of difficulties in our relationship, I think. I was extremely sensitive about my weight,
Mhm.
and, um, and I think he genuinely just really didn't care. I don't think he was putting on an act. I think he loves me, no matter how I am. It's not like I was so heavy that I couldn't like function,
Right.
it wasn't impacting his daily life. He always thought I was attractive. Um, but it probably really would have hurt my feelings a lot. And I don't think I think it would have just made our relationship worse and it wouldn't have helped me because the motivation has to come from within.
Right.
No, you can't make somebody else change.
As a trainer for many years and a professional athlete, that's one of the things that I usually ask my clients that are in relationships. I'm like, what would it have made a major difference if your significant other approached you? Because evidently, when you're going to a trainer or you're having these problems, you're bearing the blunt of it. And from a man's standpoint, it's almost like they feel like, well, I do care about her. And the tripped out part about it is they always say, I see that my significant other is picking up weight, but I don't know how to tell them that they're picking up weight.
You don't have to tell them because they already know.
Mm.
I
When you
mean, it's not gonna come as a surprise if you say to your wife you're putting on weight. I mean, you know, I most people absolutely know that they're putting on weight. Probably a lot of them are not happy about it, and, I just think the more unless it's a different kind of person, but for me,
Mhm.
it was something I was really, really sensitive about. My husband knew that, and I think he wisely knew that it wasn't gonna do anything but cause problems. For other people, maybe
Right.
honesty would be a great thing, but
But
not
not
for
in that
me.
situation. So at 45, you decided to do a shift change. That beast
Mhm.
mindset clearly changed. What were some of the things that you did to correct what was bothering you inside with your weight?
Well, the first thing I did was that I decided that I was not going to go on a diet, and I didn't ever call it a diet. I didn't have any rules. I didn't have any restrictions, like you can't eat this or you can't eat that. I just knew that I needed to eat less and to eat healthier.
Okay.
But I knew that if I restricted, then eventually I was going, restricting is like pulling a rubber band this way. And at some point, it,
Right.
you go the other way. So I just wanted to start to eat in a way that would result in getting down to a certain weight that then I could maintain without too much difficulty. That
How
came first, and
so
then
how
the
difficult,
exercise.
not to cut you off, how difficult was portion control for you? Were you eating large portions at first or didn't understand what portions really meant at the time prior to doing this?
I think a lot of it is just habit. I mean, I would go out with the kids every Friday. They were in a homeschool group, and we ate at some fast food place. I can't even remember now. Um, and I would get a regular Coke, and I would eat their French fries along with getting my own onion rings. And I don't remember
Right.
what my main thing was, but I just was in the habit of eating a lot more. I didn't need to eat that much, and I do think a lot of it was just bad habits. I got used to ordering a certain thing. When I started ordering something different that was better, it didn't really make any difference after a few weeks. That's what I was used to.
When did you start seeing change? When did you start seeing good habits taking replacing the bad habits?
I mean, to be honest, it was like overnight.
Okay.
I mean, once I started on that, I never looked back. It's not that I'm still not affected by my disordered eating patterns, because I don't think those ever totally go away.
Mhm.
So there are times when I'll eat more than I'd like, but never ever to the point of, feeling bleh and like I want to throw it all up.
What
Never
were
like
some of the
that.
triggers that caused you to get into that state of mind where portion control or just eating just became the norm?
Um, I don't know, think it's like once you make up your mind that you wanna do things differently,
Mhm.
that it just I feel like I came to a point where I had just had enough of the old way. It wasn't
Where
making me happy, something needed to change, and that's what I did. I didn't have any. It's like backsliding,
Mhm.
you know? It just it was just a progression. Once you're I mean, that's 25 years ago, so
Right.
it's not like I've stayed at the exact same weight, but,
Hmm.
I think the exercise that I incorporated in made a huge difference because, when you exercise, you're much more in tune with your body. So if I put on 5 pounds, I mean, I could feel it right away, jumping up and down. There'd be other body parts sort of.
Was it difficult for you to start incorporating exercise with your nutrition? And was that something that you came up with, or were you reading books? Did you go to a gym? How did you format all that?
Well, I didn't go to a gym because I was homeschooling and we didn't have a lot of extra money. Um, I started walking.
Okay.
And after I and I had always walked, so that was no big deal, but I started walking more, and then I started, doing some jogging, and pretty soon I was pretty much doing all jogging or running. Um, I got into, a few little step aerobics, VHS tapes. The big change for me was, one day I was doing a step aerobics tape and I turned it off and the TV was on and, Denise Austin was on with her show, and she was lifting weights, and I was just like, "Oh, I could do that at home." I mean, I'd always
Right.
associated lifting weights with going to a gym,
Right.
and my husband had been saying, "You really, need to get stronger or you're gonna hurt yourself when you run." And
Right.
it just didn't occur to me that I could use videos to work out.
Mm.
Um, and that was a huge revelation, and I discovered a huge community of other people online who were all using videos to work out, and that's what really got me going.
So
Um,
so now you wind up, let's say what, 30 years later, beautiful 70 years old, and you take to the social media platform. What inspired that?
well, I have intermittently posted a few reels of my workouts. And in 2020, during the pandemic,
Mhm.
I started to do that more often because I heard so many people complaining that the gym was closed. And having never gone to the gym, I didn't have any problem with the pandemic. And I thought, it's sad that people don't realize this is a possibility. Of course, they had to get equipment, and I already had mine. The other thing is that I have been using one instructor, Kathy Friedrich, for since 1999, and she was recording classes from her gym. And when her gym closed, um, we all wondered, what's she going to do? Well, she would go into that empty gym and record classes every single week, just like she always had. And I thought that was so cool that I especially wanted to do her workouts and then send a shout out that this is the person that I used.
Mhm.
So that's how I got started. And then I'm not an overnight sensation. I mean, I started posting my workouts regularly,
Right.
um, in July of 22,
Mhm.
and just I don't know, just as a way of staying accountable to myself and also, just showing what a kind of a variety of workouts that you can do at home because I do a lot of different things. And, um then a few of those reels went viral, first on Facebook, um, and then on Instagram.
Why do you think they went viral? Because there's tons of individuals that are
I know.
exercising and physical fitness and bodybuilding and bikini. I mean, health and fitness is all over social media. What do you think? Why do you
Well,
think
not
yours just went
everybody's
viral?
70 years old, so I think
Okay.
that that makes a difference. That got attention, and I have people question me all the time, "Why do you put 70 years old on it?" And I'm like, "Well, if I didn't, nobody would pay any attention." Now, I didn't start with 70. I started when I was 68. So I've done 68 years old, 69 years old, and now 70 years old, and, come at the end of the year, I'll do 71. Um, but, to be perfectly honest, I think a lot of it is just luck.
Okay.
It's the algorithm. It's
Okay.
it's whatever some people happen to see, and then it gets shared and passed along, and nobody could have been more surprised than me when, particularly on Facebook, I suddenly started building up all these people following me, and I'm like,
So
what?"
with so many people that are following you, what are some of the responses, good, bad, and ugly, that you're getting from people?
Very interesting. I mean, I think if there's one word that I've heard more than anything, it's amazing, and I have never thought of myself as amazing. So, I mean, amazing are, athletes and people who do incredible things, but, um, so I've got a lot of people that have said, "Oh, you're inspiring me to work out," and that has really kept me going because I have the more followers or people who see me that I get, the more negativity I run into. And,
What do you mean?
oh, you know, you don't look 70, you look 80, you look 90, you have loose skin. Don't show your midriff, your tummy is too fat, or your tummy is too thin, or you're skinny, or you look like a
I can't believe
frog.
people will literally write
They do.
something
Oh,
like that
yes. Oh,
on
yes. Um, for men, it it can be a little bit more of a come on. Um, but there are a lot of men out there that will say nasty things. "Oh, you look like a man." I don't know. It's just and women. And I I try to I don't know. I haven't quite figured out how to respond yet. A
maybe the
lot of
best
people,
response is no response.
yes, but other people may respond to those comments. I have tried to mix humor, honesty, and
Mhm.
tuning people out depending on
The
what
situation.
the remark is.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So there one thing that I do when I work out is I smile a lot. And I just do that because usually the instructor is saying something funny, or I see something funny, somebody else in the class is doing something funny, or it can be just a way to sort of power through, Um, and I had this one guy that commented on a reel, "Why are you smiling like a psychopath?" And I thought about it, and it was kind of funny, so I just responded and I said, "Because I'm thinking about all the people I have buried in my basement." Um, and I now have like 10,000 likes on that remark. So, if I can turn something around and make it funny,
Right.
I feel like that's the easiest thing to do because I do have a sense of humor, and a lot of the times when people makes an insulting comment, I just kinda have to laugh at it, and so if I can respond humorously, I try to.
Yeah.
If I get something like people going, "Oh my god, 70 is so old," I may say something like, "Well, it's better than the alternative," or, you know, uh,
Right. Right.
trying to change people's mindsets because it bothers me that we really seem to normalize this kind of behavior on social media.
Mhm.
And I don't think it should be considered normal, and I don't know why we should just accept it. Um, Social media isn't going anywhere. It's gonna be like the sort of the new society, and I think we need to develop a mindset that people treat each other respectfully on social media as much as they might treat people in public.
Hillary, before we wrap up, and thank you
Sure.
so much for taking time out of your day of exercising and getting ready to go out and enjoy this cold weather because we're
This
not
well,
that
yes,
far
it's
from each
sunny
other.
though.
Yeah. What is the big picture for you? What's your end game and what kind of message do you want the people to know?
You know, the nice thing about being 70 is, you feel like pretty much you've done most of what you need to do, and and you don't know how much time is left. Um, and so you I try not to think very much about the future or really about the past. I just try to enjoy the present time because I mean, I know it sounds real cliche, but when you get to 70, you realize that that is the only thing you really have is just the present. Um, I try to maintain my health and my
Mm.
mind, so that there's a possibility for a good future, but I also accept the fact that it may change on a dime. That's
Hillary, how can the viewers reach out to you and follow you and support you and even listen to some of the humorous remarks that you make while you're exercising on your videos?
well, I think the easiest way to probably find me is on, Instagram. My name is Hilary Leslie. Leslie's my middle name, so I chose that. On Facebook, I'm Hilary Walker Miller. Um, I am really trying to answer just about every comment and question that I get. Um, I don't know if that's going to be sustainable, but that's what I'm doing right now. And I'd really love to hear from people who have questions or need a little bit of advice, as long as it's something I know something about, which um, there are a lot of medical things I don't know anything about, but those are the sort of questions I feel like I can answer. And I really do like hearing from people and talking with people. I think maybe from my teaching online, it's gotten so that I just think everybody has something interesting to say.
And you know what? You
Mhm.
definitely had something interesting to say today, and you're definitely playing that beast mindset. Make sure you guys support, follow her, listen to what she has to say. Remember, people, um, you don't have to you have to agree with everybody and what they're doing, but at least take the time to sit back and be respectful and at least take time to understand what they're doing and the reason why. With that being said, this has been another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Crayton Show.